You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your number one source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Gene. Johnson.
The AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AfterBuzz TV's The Amazing Race After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's The Amazing Race After Show.
We have a little happy dance going on right now in the studio.
I love it. I love it. Good evening, everyone. We are here at AfterBuzzTV.com doing the Amazing Race After Show, and we're back after the Thanksgiving holiday. I'm your host, James Wallington, and with me tonight are two of my favorite people on this planet.
Yes. Hi, everybody. I'm Justin Nichols.
And I am Jessica Carroll. So happy to be back. What an episode.
What an episode.
Now, did you guys have any Cobra jerky for your Thanksgiving dinner?
Is that not a Thanksgiving staple? Of course I did. Of course I did.
Let me know. I'll never have Thanksgiving at your place.
I went to Indonesia for Thanksgiving.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine? Just a little trip to Indonesia for the holiday.
Quick little hop for a few days.
I love it.
I'd be down.
So what were your guys' overall thoughts on this episode?
I loved this episode. I thought it was hilarious. Hilarious. What about you?
Yeah, I thought it was really funny. I mean, especially the challenges where it's paint your partner.
Yeah.
I mean, they kind of had, you kind of harked back to the days where they were, they were dressing up in Europe, and all the guys had to wear these crazy costumes. And no, I thought it was a really good episode. It's getting so intense as we're winding our way down, to the final episode. And so I just find myself so tense as I watch the entire, even if it's funny, I'm still really nervous.
I couldn't agree more. This one was very action-packed, and the challenges they had to do, I think, were more entertaining than some we've seen. Some seems like the Rams, when they butt heads, that just kind of seemed like a fill-in challenge. This one kind of seemed very consistent with the challenges and the intensity of everything. I loved it, and it's so hard because I can't even begin to predict who is going to come out on top of this.
I know. Well, especially because even in the taxis at the very end, they were so neck and neck and trying to cut in front of each other.
Yeah. I mean, it's a real race this time.
Yeah.
A real amazing
It even came down to a foot race at the very end.
I do agree, though. I really liked how this episode, more than others, when they come in first, second, third, or fourth, sometimes you can tell that everyone's really spaced out. I really do like how they're so close this entire episode. Taxis are weaving in and out of each other, and that does make the difference. So yeah, really interesting.
Well, I want to apologize because we changed our schedule up this week, and Marie tweeted me this morning, what are you guys doing? I don't have your after show to watch while I'm on the treadmill.
We're sorry, Marie.
So Marie, if you're watching right now, which I hope you are because you retweeted my tweet 5 minutes ago, we're sorry that we had to switch up the schedule on you. And we try to get Allie and Ashley in tonight. That's ultimately why we switched it to Tuesday night.
That was the real reason. First of all, before we go any further into this episode, I know that Jessica and I want to give a big shout out to you, James, because for all of our listeners and viewers out there, I don't know if you guys know how hard James works on getting some of our these phone calls lined up. They've been a huge part of our show. We were so excited because there was a slight possibility of getting Allie and Ashley into the studio tonight, but of course it's the final week. They have very busy schedules. That's why, though, we are doing Tuesday night this week.
They would have been our first team to ever visit us in the studio here. So.
All thanks to you, but...
Well, Allie and Ashley, you are missed.
Yes.
We're sorry we can't get your side of it. Well, I would love to have heard their side of the story.
I'm kidding.
Yes.
We would have loved to have
We would have loved to have you.
So let's dive right into this Amazing Race episode.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about those Cobras for 1 second.
Okay.
What did you think? How would you have done? What would be going through your head?
Honestly, I love trying new foods, but having real live Cobras in front of me as I'm eating it would have just ruined it. So I would have shut my eyes, maybe plugged my nose, and just ate it.
You took my exact words from me. It's one of those things where when you're on any kind of show like this or Fear Factor, whatever they're going to feed you, you shouldn't be nervous because they can't harm. They cannot physically harm you. The show can't. So I would be like, snake, it might taste gross, but I might as well eat it because nothing's going to happen to me, right?
Yeah.
However, to have that cobra, and it kept just like flinging itself at the screen, and I'm like, what if that screen broke? I mean, like, it didn't look like the strongest cage in the world. It's like, as you're eating it, it's like coming at your face, and I was like, oh, no, thank you.
I think that's where I would have had a hard time, is that eating it is one thing, it's just meat. I'll get over the fact that it's a cobra. But to be sitting in front of this clear glass or this clear case with live cobras hissing and staring me in the eye, like, I feel like I'd be eating, like, a family member of theirs. And they're just really aggressive.
They're going to come after you.
It was just, made me uncomfortable.
But I think we've kind of figured out why Marie is such a bitch all the time, though. It's because...
Sorry,
Marie.
Eats lettuce.
Yeah, we did not know this until this far into the season. That apparently Marie is a very picky eater. She only eats like a little rabbit. Lettuce, apparently. So I thought she was going to have a real problem with this, and that's probably why she was so irritable the whole season. She was just hungry. Yeah. She's only been eating lettuce so far.
I mean, I gotta hand it. I mean, the trailers leading up to this episode, it made the Cobra part of this episode seem more intense than it actually was.
Probably.
It was like a little slab of Cobra. I was thinking like it was gonna be this whole snake with the head like really laid out on a platter with little fruit around it. I don't know.
It was like this big. The part they actually had to eat was literally this big. And the grossest part is they had to rip out the bones.
Yeah.
And some of them were eating the bones. But
and once again, even to get to the snake to eat it, poor Tim and Marie and these taxi cabs. What is going on? Like, it didn't seem to be a problem with any other team. Like, they left, I think, second. This leg, they left second after the Afghanimals, maybe third, somewhere in there. And they arrived last and way last when it came to this first part because of the damn taxi.
Yeah, I didn't understand, like, where along the way, like, what happened, why were they so far behind, especially when she's, like, on the other side running up those stairs, and she's like, I feel like we're here, but we're just not in
And how does this always happen to them?
yeah, why them?
I don't know.
Hopefully we can get to the bottom of it.
Maybe
Tweet us, Marie, and maybe we'll...
Marie, what is happening out there, girl? What is happening? Talk to us.
I'm glad you brought that up, though, because that, for the first part, all the other teams were at the Cobra eating challenge together. And that's when Leo and Jamal, again, being the crafty liars for whatever reason, brought up like, oh, yeah, Tim and Marie were here. No problem. They're gone already.
They said it so believable, though. They didn't even hesitate. I was like, whoa. They seemed like they were telling the truth.
The problem is, there's not even points to their lies, though. Like, if I was racing, I would lie, of course, all the time, but only when it really affects the outcome of the race. But lying and saying Tim and Marie already left, like, that's just going to encourage the other racers to try to eat faster because they want to catch up instead of being like, oh, I guess they got lost. We can take our time, and then you secretly eat faster because they're going to take their time. Like,
and what's funny is, like, prior episodes, everyone's like, oh, we always can call Leo and Jamal's bluff, but this one time, they actually believed it.
Yeah.
Why now?
Yeah, I didn't get it.
I didn't get it either. We haven't heard much from them outside of the show, as far as on Facebook or Twitter or comments. So Leo and Jamal, if you guys are out there listening, what was your strategy for all of these lies? We want to know here on AfterBuzz. So.
We want to know how you guys are such good liars.
Yeah, and why?
It's because they live in Los Angeles. How you get around this time.
They did say that, there's Nicole and Travis, and then Tim and Marie, and Jason and Amy. And so they kind of are, they just lost their alliance. They're kind of the target team. They've already been U-turned twice. Yeah. So I can see that they're feeling the pressure now.
They are, but I like how they don't hide from it, because I like how Leo and Jamal, they said, listen, we've been U-turned twice, and we're still here, and we're still viewed as a threat. What's happening over here,
I'm
James?
sorry. I'm trying to,
You don't like what we're saying here?
We're not.
If you're watching right now, we are pouring our hearts and feelings out into this AfterBuzz show, and James is just over there, like, tweeting and giggling and laughing, like,
I'm trying to stay on top of social media, because we did just ask Marie to tweet us.
Yes.
Well, I got a tweet from her. She wouldn't even know we asked her to tweet us because they're having some technical difficulties with the website, and she took a picture of her computer screen and said, WTF, what is this? I'm gonna cry.
Oh, no.
Okay, well, that means we have like another 10 minutes till it's fixed to just talk whatever smack we want to.
Talk shit about her. Let's go.
All right, go. Here we go.
Tell her to refresh.
Tell her to refresh. You got it.
Refresh.
I'll do it. Oh gosh.
Our
What do you
producer
think?
is working on, but no, Marissa, our producer, do not work on this. We want to know that
No,
we are safe.
It works. It works.
Oh, don't tell us this. Ugh. Now we have to be very nice.
tweeted, so stay tuned, everybody. Hopefully there won't be technical difficulties.
What do you think Cobra tastes like?
Well, Jason said it tasted snakish.
But then
Really?
Travis and Nicole said it tastes like chicken.
Chicken,
Which
yeah.
wouldn't surprise me because I feel like everyone,
Meat.
that's a
Very
go-to.
bony
Yeah.
chicken.
Whenever they try some new meat, it's always, oh, it tastes like chicken.
And it was either Leo or Jamal. They said it was like natural Viagra,
They would say that.
right?
They would say
They say
that.
the most random little one-liners.
But why would they know that?
Yeah.
Tweet us. Let us know.
Anyway, so
yeah,
they
yeah.
go. We're just gonna keep moving on with this show today. So they eat the snake. I am really proud because we find out that Marie, who doesn't like eating anything besides lettuce, she also does very well. And I think all the teams really sucked it up. There was no team that had a big breakdown or cried or anything, and they moved on pretty quickly. And we're moving on to, I'm gonna ruin the pronunciation. I think it was kind of like Kawadoma's crater. How do we feel about that?
Yeah,
Sure.
Pretty good?
That sounds great.
I
yeah.
tried to write it phonetically, but anyway, for all of our fans listening in Indonesia, I'm sorry if I just butchered your crater. But they have to go to this huge crater where there is natural warm water seeping out of this crater, like so hot that it's boiling.
It was like an old volcano.
Yeah, and they now need to, they have a roadblock, right, James?
Yes, and it says, who's feeling hard-boiled? That was the clue. So in this roadblock, one team member picked up 60 eggs from a food stand and then took an 8-minute moped taxi ride into the Kawaratu crater of Tangkuban Perahu to use one of the volcanic hot springs to boil the eggs.
Thanks, Phil.
Yeah, I was like,
you think-
this is why I always
Did
throw
it
to
come off
you.
naturally?
Perfect. You should be the next host for
You
Amazing
totally
Race.
Watch
should
out,
be.
Phil. I'm coming for you.
Totally.
So yeah, I mean, it looks like, we had Jamal doing this with Travis and Jason
Yeah.
before Tim and Marie showed up. And it kind of seemed like Jason and Travis there were having a little bromance, sinking their
Yeah.
brushes
Sure,
together,
yeah.
trying to boil those eggs with one another.
It even kind of led to some jokes from Leo and Jamal, like
Right.
later on in their like one-on-ones, because
Let's
they're
just,
like,
you know,
oh my
hook
god, we're
arms.
gonna watch this together.
Oh boy, leave it to Leo and Jamal.
But even though they kind of formed an alliance there, they all three kind of were on the same timeline, and they figured about 10 minutes or so was enough to boil an egg, but because they thought it was so hot, they figured 8 minutes should do. So I think that Tim and Travis, they decided at 8 minutes they were good. And then just to be safe, which I thought was smart. Jamal, I don't sound very smart today, but Jamal also decided to stay an extra 2 minutes to make sure his were hard boiled.
Yeah, and I can see for strategic purposes, it's like, okay, if they did 8, maybe if I do 2 more, they get up there and they're told no, then they're coming back down, and then I can go up and be like, hey, I was there for 2 minutes longer.
Right.
Yeah, and you know
then
Tim and Marie are
gain
still
the lead.
behind you, so you might as well
You
be
have time.
safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like that security blanket.
I thought it was smart.
Yeah.
But
I
it
would
didn't
have
work
kept
out
those
so well.
babies in there as long as I could.
Yeah, yeah. Well, at least they understood how to boil an egg. The
That's
three of them. So
That surprised me with Marie when she, read the clue and she's like, I don't even know how to boil an egg.
Yeah, she was like holding the strainer thing above the steam.
I loved that. She was steaming an egg. Like she was just talking to the producer. Like I don't know what I'm doing.
I've never boiled an egg. Like, who's not boiled an egg?
God
So then she
bless.
finally put it in, and she did exactly what I was thinking in my head. I would have taken out the egg and shook it.
Yeah.
And tried to hear if the yolk was making a little noise in there.
Yeah.
That's what I would have done. I would have kept him in there long enough. What would you have done?
Well, I mean, I know how to boil an egg, but I
Yeah.
don't ever cook eggs. So I probably would have, to be honest with you, I would have done exactly what the guys did. I probably would have gone with 10 minutes and then been like, God, that seems fine.
Yeah.
I would have gone up there, and then as we found out, all 3 guys, even Jamal, who kept it in longer, had to redo the
Yeah.
entire thing. And I would have probably done the same thing. Probably about 10 minutes, ran up there, and then like, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being honest, what about you, James?
I think I would have had a problem with the overwhelming smell because I know they kept making jokes about it smelling like fart bombs, and I'm really sensitive to scents. But I think I would be
Sensitive to
I'd be
scents.
like, just trying to boil those eggs. I wouldn't know how to boil an egg to save my life, though. I've never done it. I don't like boiled eggs. I just, no, thank you.
I just buy them from the store.
Ew, I feel like it's starting to smell in here now. Just
Sorry.
talking
My
about
God.
Woo!
Well, I was live tweeting, for the episode on Sunday night, and Amy, I read one of my tweets about how I don't get why Leo and Jamal have to consistently lie and like what the point is, if they're trying to stir chaos, whatever. It doesn't work because they're obviously one of the hated teams left. And there was a secret scene that they didn't show where Nicole and Amy were talking with Leo while the boys were doing the roadblock. Oh. And he finally owned up to the fact that Tim and Marie hadn't even gotten to the Cobra part of the challenge. And they were like, why do you lie so much? And Nicole's like, they're professional liars.
Yeah.
And it's not helping them as far as like trying to get any assistance from any of the other teams. Like, no, they're only hurting themselves. But maybe it's going to work out. We don't know. So
Who knows?
We'll see how it goes next episode.
Yeah,
Indeed. So anyway, eventually though, the three teams, I think Jason finishes first, but but Travis is right there with them, of course, because they are buddies in this. And then not very long after though, Jamal. They all three finish. They tear open their next clue, and it is a detour. I will let James read off the exact words, but I think its detour is paint your partner or something about turning a new leaf or something.
Turn over a new leaf.
Oh, for the detour. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. This leg's detour was a choice between paint your partner and turn over a new leaf. And paint your partner, teams went to the Gracia Spa Graher something or other, where they had to make each other up in traditional Javanese bridal makeup without a mirror. Once the beautician was satisfied, and we'll talk about that beautician in a second, with their work, he would give them their next clue. In turn over a new leaf, teams traveled into a tea plantation and dressed in the traditional uniform of the tea harvesters. Then they had to search the tea plantation for a pair of clipping shears hidden in the tea plants, which they could trade to the local tea plantation worker for their next clue. What a mouthful.
Which one would you have chosen?
Oh, I would totally do paint your partner.
I would have done the T one.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not artsy. And so before I even knew like exactly what it was going to entail, I couldn't. I mean, once I even saw it paint anything, I'm running for the border. Like, I just can't do it. I don't know. I would have completely destroyed my partner. They would have looked even more ridiculous than Travis did.
I loved this detour. One of my favorites. It was hilarious. Just seeing the boys, just try to put on makeup. That's funny. And then how they looked. Oh, man.
Yeah. So, they have to do it. I was surprised that right away, Jason, Amy, Travis, and Nicole, they said, bam, we're painting our partners. But Leo and Jamal brought up a good point. They had these two beautiful women on their team that understood makeup, cosmetology, so that's what they were going to do. And then Leo and Jamal decided they were going to do the tea leaf one. So.
And again, I've said this, I swear by it, for every after show we've ever talked about detours, when you change up your momentum, I thought that they took a huge risk in starting off with the tea plantation detour, then switching to painting your partner, and they were like, no, we're not going to do this, and then going back, which ultimately I think is why they ended up falling to the back of the pack.
I don't know, in my opinion, but I totally agree. In my opinion, when they were, searching for the clipper thing, I just felt like they weren't trying very hard. I mean, they were just looking on the floor. You would obviously look in the bush as well.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed incredibly hard. I will say that, because it was like this little black handles to gather this massive field. But I do think that they, instead of like standing outside the fields and getting a game plan, because they were kind of arguing as they were going row to row, because one of them was looking in the bushes, one of them was only looking on the ground, but they were in different rows. So, I mean, like, they were kind of all over the place, and I think that they were right, and they said it later on, if they would have had a better execution of it, they probably would have found it much quicker, and they could have been in first as opposed to falling behind in this race. So, I mean, I think it would have been I think, there's always one that's easier and one that's harder. I think this T1 was, in the producer's mind, was probably going to be the easy one.
Yeah.
It just didn't turn out that way. So, but I loved going back to the paint your partner. I mean, they looked so ridiculous. Jason was so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
He even
really
said that he was embarrassed and mortified to be putting on makeup.
Yeah. And I mean, because Travis didn't seem to be having a good time, but he wasn't,
It's funny, I think I would have expected it more from Travis than Jason, because, Amy does beauty pageants and helps out with all that.
Exactly.
Then I would think that, you know, maybe Jason would have been a little bit more comfortable. But, you know, putting my feet into a straight man's shoes who's never worn makeup before or has, you know, never experimented with that kind of thing, I can see why it would be uncomfortable, let alone on national television when you're probably going to get a lot of slack from your buddies back home when they watch the episode.
Yeah.
Like, putting on a dress is one thing, but when you get the whole makeup and the get-up for a wedding bride, like, that's another.
And poor Travis had to shave his goatee and mustache. Like, he had to completely shave to do this challenge.
Yeah.
So,
Travis
tough.
and Tim, they both had to shave, right?
Well, Tim, yeah, but Tim had to shave as well. But Jason had been.
Jason was clean. Travis and Tim had to shave.
Yeah.
What do you think you would have done, Justin? Because I know why, you know, Leo Jamal went back, and that was like the big end-all be-all for them when they had to find out that they had to shave.
Yeah.
Would you have done it? Like,
What, paying your partner?
or if you you switched up your momentum and went to that
I think
part,
once
would you shave?
once I switched up, you're now I would have been committed to just stay. I would have said, you know what? We've already been to the tea. I'm not gonna go back to that tea place again. I would have shaved. I would have done. I would have shaved my head. You know, it's $1 million.
Yeah.
Like, but I can't believe that it was the shave. And these guys were like, screw this. Like, are you kidding me? Like, you're already behind. Suck it up. Throw some makeup on and see if this whatever this guy was who had amazing facial expressions, the makeup expert, he was cracking me up.
I
would
my
have just
favorite part.
I would have just kissed his ass the entire time, being like, please, sir, is this
I
fun?"
have a funny photo to show you, and I wish there was a way I should have sent it in before we did this, but I did your reality recaps yesterday, and we talked about the beautician.
Yeah.
They made this photo of my face and his face.
Yes.
Who did it better?
Do it again.
Who did it better? So if you're watching right now, or if you're listening in your car right now, we are currently looking at James's phone, and so the beautician just kept looking at the racers with just like pure like shock about
Jaw drop.
Like disgusted shock.
Yeah, not like shocking how great they're doing, but shocking just how crap they look.
I loved it. Because it's like you see, like, you know, Amy painting Jason, and all of a sudden he kind of pops up over the shoulder, and he's like,
Yeah.
No, that's what's with Travis. When Travis, his skin was oily, so the gold strands wouldn't stick to his face, and they start putting bobby pins like to keep.
And that's when the face from the guide was the priceless. And well done to the camera team for capturing this guy.
I just would have like paid money to see Leo and Jamal shaped, like clean, and trying to do that makeup. I would have probably peed my pants.
Yeah, I would have too. I would have too.
When they said, okay, let's switch, I was like, yes, woo, we're gonna see them put on makeup and shave their face, and then
wow,
they
wouldn't do it.
Producers would have loved that too. They would have been like, yes, this is what we wanted initially, was Leo and Jamal to do this.
Yeah.
But it took a long time because they said they spent like 2 hours there or something like that, and Leo and Jamal kept saying how many hours they spent in the tubes. So this was not a fast challenge at all by any means, the detour, and it gave Tim and Marie an excellent chance to catch up from the earlier taxi fiasco, which was great. But Jason and Amy, they kind of kicked ass at this one, you know, even though he didn't have a good time doing it. She did him up pretty well, but then Jason also did some pretty good job putting her makeup on.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, even putting makeup on yourself is totally different than putting on your makeup on someone else. And without a mirror, I mean, it would have been challenging, especially for a guy who doesn't do it every day.
I just love how cute Amy is. She always gets so excited about the things that she knows she's going to excel at. Like, it goes back to when they had to pick out, oh my gosh, was it a camel?
Yeah. The beauty contest.
The beauty contest with the camels, and she was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm in my element. It's like judging a beauty pageant. I think she's just so cute, and her spirit in the race is just something that you can't help but fall in love with.
Aww. Are you tweeting her?
Shout out to you.
Are you tweeting her right now? Is this where this is coming from? Is she telling you what to say?
Speaking of Amy, I loved her one sentence where she's like, remember the word karma? When Leo and Jamal walked in?
I think it was this big old grin.
Oh, I loved that. Yeah, girl, you tell them.
You tell them, girl. And I think Marie wanted to tell this this makeup guy where to go, because both Tim and Marie and Travis and Nicole had to continually be told, no, not good enough. And I don't know why Travis and Nicole were surprised by this, because Travis's face was just smeared with black mascara and stuff. And he looked horrible.
Well, he kept saying, the heat in Indonesia was just extreme. And then on top of that, you're kind of in a room and the makeup lights are blaring in their face. It's like all these different layers of heat. I was waiting for their skin to just kind of melt.
Yeah.
I just don't get why Nicole and Travis just kept looking at each other being like, what's wrong? Like, how are we getting this wrong? I mean, they looked horrible. Yeah, they seemed surprised every time they were told no. They were like, I wonder what it could be. It could be that you have makeup shit all over your face, Travis.
Or your fake eyelashes are like way up here.
Oh, I love these challenges. I love them. I love them. I love
That
them.
was so awesome.
So Lee and Jamal, they bounced and they went back to the tea leaves. And luckily, who knows? They didn't really give a good time on how long they searched after they went back, but I did notice, I don't know if you guys did, a noticeable difference in the lighting. Like, it was definitely starting to get dark when they were still in those tea leaf fields. So I know that they were there for a long time, even the second time.
Well, they said that the first time took them about 2 hours.
Jesus.
Then they switched, and then at the very end, when they were with Phil, they said it took them around 5 hours total there. I mean, that's a long time looking through.
Searching it just reminds me of that one challenge seasons back where they had, barrels of hay and this open field in some country in Europe. And I think they were sisters, and they had to unroll all of them, and they were there the whole night. Anything that you have to search for, like, why take that risk?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It could have been a lot worse for Leo
Mm-hmm.
and Jamal, but I think they got lucky. Because they're the only ones there, and if there's enough shears in the leaves for 4 teams, then they have like a 1 in 4 shot of finding it.
I know.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that.
I didn't either.
It goes to show how big the field was too, because it took them 5 hours, even with 4 shears in there.
I didn't even think of that. The whole time I thought it was just one. There was only one clipper thing.
Or maybe they quickly planted more if others showed up.
Maybe they do, just to throw people off, or make it easier.
I don't know, but they did mention though that where the shears ended up being was one of the rows that they searched very first in the day. They were just looking on the ground, and they found that white flag. They thought that was it, and they
I surrender.
They went up to that poor woman in the field, like waving their white flag, and she was just like, "Are you guys crazy?" I love when people that are not part of the show end up being on the show.
Yeah.
Like, of course, they have the locals that are told ahead of time, hand them their clue. But like, a great example, even going back, was our dear friends Rowan and Shane. Remember when they were doing that shoe shining, and he went to the wrong shoe shiner?
Yes.
And I'm sure the producers are just dying laughing because he went up to the wrong shoe shiner. This guy was never told he was going to be on the show, and poor, I think it was Rowan, took the guy's stuff and was like, "I need to take this from you. It's part of the show." And like, I love when people that are not supposed to be on the show end up being like huge parts.
I mean,
of the
his
story.
shoe shining business is probably just popping.
Oh, for sure.
Got
He's
his
famous
15
now.
seconds. Yeah.
If he ever got his stuff back, I don't know. So he's probably still looking for it.
I think it was even last season. Someone went to like the wrong house, and they were trying to make a small little fruit basket or something.
Oh, right.
And the family was totally going along with it. They were like acting as if, yeah, sure.
Wasn't it Jessica and John?
Yes.
And it was like they put on the wrong clothes, and they're like, isn't this what we're supposed to wear? And like make.
So funny.
That's true.
Yeah, it's also so funny just to see them try to communicate without words. Like, the scissors.
Yeah. The thing, and the got white
Is
flag,
this the
and
scissors just like crocodile, alligator, what?
I don't know. I just wanted another beauty parts of the race. That's what it is. So.
Yes.
Beauty parts, like
One of the, I don't know.
one of the beautiful parts of the race.
Beautiful parts.
That's what I was
We'll
gonna
go
say.
with that. Don't call me out, James.
No,
for
I
not
was going
knowing
to
what
say,
I'm
I was going to
saying.
transition. Let's talk about how beautiful the pit stop was.
Okay. Well done. Save
The
me.
waterfall was beautiful. I thought that's
it
where
was.
you're going. It's like the beautiful surroundings
Yeah,
of
that's where I was
Indonesia.
totally going,
the beauty
for
parts of the
sure.
race. Like the pit stop,
He
this
planned
leg
that.
was one of them.
Totally. Gonna go with that one. Thanks, buddy.
You're welcome. But yeah, this pit stop was beautiful.
Gorgeous. Mhm.
And I'm so happy for Jason and Amy. They finally got
They
their first
did.
place.
So happy
Well
for them.
deserved.
Yeah.
Marissa,
sure.
do we have any like big like round of applause, like sound effects, like
Yeah.
"Yay, Jason and Amy!" They have been one of the strongest teams all season long, and the only team still in the race that never had the opportunity to get first place.
And they did, and they won a trip for 2 to Cancun.
Nice. Yeah,
It was the
6
perfect,
days.
package that was fitting for this team.
And it was, because finally we get a fun trip that's not like 2 buddies or like 2 brothers. It's a romantic
Like
trip to
Chester and
Jamaica.
Ephraim when they got that trip, and I was like, what?
But it's nice. They're a wonderful couple. They get to go to Cancun together. It's going to be great. It's going to be really, really nice. So yeah, Jason and Amy got first, and then
The foot race.
This was a tight race. We mentioned it a little bit earlier between Tim and Marie and Travis and Nicole, because they both finished their makeup sections around the same time.
Yeah. What did you think of the foot race?
Oh, I loved it. I loved how the guys were just like running up and they were all taking off their hair, like holding their hair and running.
Waiting for their ladies to come down the steps. I think it goes to show, if the final leg of this race comes down to Tim and Marie and Nicole and Travis, then Tim and Marie have it in the bag for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I thought it was really funny. I definitely think, though, that if this season was going to be twice as long, twice as many legs, even though they're such a strong married couple, I think Travis and Nicole are really starting to get on each other's nerves a little bit.
Wait, I forgot to bring up something about Travis and Nicole this episode.
Oh, what?
Their relationship. It's starting to make sense about why Travis treats Nicole the way he does.
Yeah, I was going to... See, now I'm going to get to that as well.
Oh, sorry.
I'm going to go off what you were saying. No, it was perfect. No, you're right, because I think that they definitely are starting to like get frustrated with one another. And that's when I think they had that great interview they did where Nicole was saying, how interesting, when Nicole was in med school, Travis was her supervisor, was like, looking after her and was kind of telling what to do. And then that's kind of led into their relationship now.
So he's kind of always told her what to do.
And Nicole's even said, he still treats me like that student. So, I mean, I don't know, because you saw when they were racing, I mean, Tim's in better shape than Travis, and Marie's in better shape than Nicole, so it shouldn't have been a surprise at all who won this. But I just feel like when Travis and Tim got to the bottom, Travis was like so annoyed of Nicole, like, come on, Nicole. And I was like, what do you expect? Like, Marie's a young pup, and of course they're gonna win. So, but yeah, it was a tight race, even the taxis and everything. So.
Those poor taxis, go faster!
This is a race.
I can't imagine what it's going to be like on this next finale
I'm
episode when they're
excited.
racing to the pit stop.
Looking at the little teaser, it looks intense.
It does.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Me too.
So here we go. Oh yeah, so Tim and Marie, they ended up getting second place because Marie got down to the bottom before Nicole did. But that means that Travis and Nicole, very respectable third.
And then, coming in the rear, very slowly, they're checking out the scenery, was Leo and Jamal.
Yeah.
The ass animals. Excuse me, the Afghanimals.
But you've been waiting for that one all episode.
It's my favorite quote. One of my favorite quotes of Amy. The ass animals. Anyway.
The ass animals. Anyway, yeah. So they get their last. However, dun 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 dun.
Non-elimination.
What? But you had a really good point, and someone on our comments from last week. By the way, thanks again, everyone, for leaving so many comments. We'll get to those in a little bit. However, they left a good comment. They were saying that since there was an elimination last week, they assumed that there'd probably be a non-elimination this week. Do you think, James, that maybe Leo and Jamal predicted that would be non-elimination? Because they didn't seem to be too worried. I don't know.
I mean, they're fans of the race, so I think it's fair to say that maybe they predicted this was going to be the outcome, because the finale over the last few seasons have always been a 2-hour season finale, and that's usually with the final 4 teams leading up to who's going to be in the top 3. Kind of gives you that cliffhanger, especially if in the final 4 there's like an equalizer challenge where everyone's neck and neck fighting for that final 3 spot. It makes sense.
Yeah.
I would be curious to know if that was indeed their mentality of why they were so kind of nonchalant with switching up the detour as much as they did and taking their time with getting onto the pit stop mat and,
I think that in their head, they went into it really wanting to, stay in the first place. And then once they got to the detour and they realized, okay, this is slow, the other teams are probably ahead of us, let's switch. And then once they found out that, okay, we're now already in last place, they're probably thinking in their head, we're already in last place, so it's either going to be a non-elimination or we're going to go home. And then that's when they kind of slow down and realize that
we'll have a good time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I've enjoyed their antics, even if I don't agree with them. So I'm kind of glad I get at least one more hour of entertainment from them.
That's a good point.
I was really relieved when Phil said, just to reassure us, that it was a non-elimination. I was really relieved, because even if they do not make the top 3, we know it's going to be one hell of an hour episode before the finale with these guys still in it. It'll be interesting to see how big of a speed bump, right? A speed bump?
Speed bump.
Because they got
It'll be interesting to see how big of a speed bump they have, because even though they were kind of scared of the water, I was surprised that Nikki and Kim's speed bump really wouldn't have taken that much time had they been comfortable with water, when they were swimming through like the wave pool. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, you would think if they should have been eliminated and they weren't, the speed bump should be huge, because they should be going home anyway.
Right, and especially on the final leg.
Yeah, but it might be something so small that it takes them an extra like 5 minutes, and then they're like, oh, moving on.
And then it keeps that, who's gonna get it?
Maybe they'll have to find these.
Dun, 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 dun. All right, so if you're in your car right now listening, we just had this voice come over in our headphones, one of our producers, and they just threw on a pair of garden shears. So
the voice of God.
Well done here in the studio. People are on their A game. Sorry I can't talk tonight, but I'm glad you guys are. You guys are with it. All right, so that's the non-elimination. Next week, what do you guys think? Should we get into predictions?
Predictions.
All right, James, what are you thinking?
So, I'm going to really dissect the trailer that we saw for this upcoming episode.
Yes.
We know that the teams are going to be traveling to Tokyo, which I'm super excited about, because I've been to Tokyo. I went to Tokyo last year, and so I'm really excited to see it on The Amazing Race.
Yeah.
But if you watch the clips closely, they are in some sort of, I want to say Alaska maybe. There's like, they're climbing up those ice, like what are they called? Oh gosh.
Glaciers?
Glaciers. Oh my gosh, it's brain fart. Monday.
Ice things.
Oh, it's not Monday.
It's not Monday.
Really, double brain fart.
Tuesday brain farts. They were climbing up some glaciers. It seemed like a very Alaskan kind of feel.
Yeah.
So if you watch the trailer, there's Jason and Amy in that kind of environment. You see Nicole and Travis in that environment, and you also see Tim and Marie in that environment. But you don't see Leo and Jamal in that environment. You see them in the Tokyo clips. So I'm thinking we're going to say goodbye to Leo and Jamal. They're not going to, do well, because probably the speed bump or whatever. They're going to get fourth, and then it's going to be an all-out brawl between the 3 teams that have been pretty steady and consistent in the front of the pack this entire season.
Yeah.
So that's my prediction from dissecting the trailer, and I think Jason and Amy have it in the bag. I think they're going to take it all the way.
Bumpa.
Yeah.
Man, how do I follow that? That was a pretty thorough investigation and observations. I agree with you though, and James, you've been saying it all season that you think that Tim and Marie, Travis and Nicole, Jason and Amy, they're the strongest ones. I agree. I think that I would be shocked if those 3 teams are not the final 3. However, I've just been so wrong with who gets, I don't know. I also agree. If I had to bet, I would say Jason, Amy, but at this point, it could truly be anyone.
Oh, yeah.
And they're all so strong. I'm a nervous wreck. I'm going to be really nervous come Sunday.
It's going to be a great 2 hours. And Leo and Jamal said that, first to worst, worst to first. So they think they're going to be first. But I agree. I don't think so. I totally agree with you. And I say we cheers to Amy and Tim.
Jason.
Yeah, I was like, are we combining teams now? Cheers.
Yeah, I think I just have a strong feeling that Jason and Amy have it in the bag, because they have had such a desirable edit from the very beginning.
Yeah.
And Nicole and Travis have too, but within the last few episodes, you're kind of like, where is this relationship coming from? I feel like I don't really know them. I don't really feel like I want to root for them, especially because they're ER doctors. They already have the money.
Yeah.
That Jason and Amy are the most rootable, especially for Middle America. And if they're dating and they're wanting to get married, which they probably should, they could start their lives together with this large sum of money. So
yeah. Oh, I hope they win.
I hope they do too, and there's true love right there, because for them to go through this race, we never saw them fight once. And they never lied, they never cheated. They were the most adorable team. We know you love them.
Yeah. We do love them. Also, speaking of love, we briefly touched on it, but the season's not over yet, darn it. So please keep those messages coming on for all of our YouTube viewers, for our podcast listeners. Just a few quick shout outs. I'm probably going to butcher some of these names, but I always like to read them. You know, that was kind of funny. Funsky40 says he really appreciates how much fun but still respectful we are on the show. So, I mean, maybe he's missed a few of the things that we've said, but no, he's right though. We try to keep it fun, and I think it's fun that he wrote into us. Asik Kot thanks us for listening and for the commentary, and one of the comments also said, thanks to James, Justin, and Carroll.
Oh, Carroll.
Carroll, XOXO.
Nice.
Carol, Jessica.
I'll be Carol. That works. Like, hey, Christmas carols. I'm just the Christmas carols girl.
Hey, but the main thing is that people are interacting with us, and please continue to do so on Twitter, Facebook, and all those, because it's been really fun.
Yeah.
Next time you can just call us J Cubed.
J Cubed. Dun 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 dun.
I like it.
So please, so make sure this week you guys continue to send in all of your comments and thoughts about the show.
Who do you think's gonna win?
Who you think's gonna win? Who you maybe want to see us dress as?
And maybe for the finale, we'll have some surprises, maybe a little dress up.
Yes, I can't wait.
Maybe we'll pop some champagne for
I love that idea.
who's gonna win.
Jessica, where can they find you?
You can find me at DressJessXO on all the social media sites.
And I'm Justin Nichols once again. You can find me at Justin J. Nichols on all the social media sites.
And you can find me at James Wallington on Twitter and at Mr. James Wally on Instagram. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Bye,
everybody.
guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.